Hello, everyone. This is the first time you're able to hear me, I believe. But I thought that what I'm about to talk about is going to be a bit better done on video than in a post, in a written post. So I would like to talk about our favorite economist, Jamus Lim, and some questionable claims he made in his latest post about gerrymandering in Singapore, which highlight that he might be easily misled or that there's some irresponsibility going on, whether on his part or the part of the people he cites. So, yesterday he posted about gerrymandering again. He posted a post where he repeats some of his points and ideas about what to do with the electoral system and the electoral boundaries in Singapore. I'm not going to repeat all of that. You can read it in your own time. But I would like to draw your attention to this allegation here that when Singaporeans express distrust in the shapes of our electoral districts, we should not be surprised. And then he, in the middle of it, he references this article, the results of a poll conducted by Answers.sg, where 66% of respondents agree that there's gerrymandering in Singapore after collecting 1,259 votes. So let's go to that link. So Must Share News is a kind of a sensationalist output, but you would expect some journalistic integrity there. Let's be honest. Even in places like Daily Mail, they typically try to report what happened, even if it's in a slightly sensationalist way. But here, the title alleges two-thirds of poll respondents think that there is gerrymandering in Singapore. That was released on September 4, so about 4 days ago. So here we have the same image that we've already seen on Jamus's post. And so let's go to Answers.sg and see what it's really about. Because you would think 1,259 respondents, this seems like a good sample. We've seen many polls that had about 800 to 2,000 respondents. The problem is, a proper survey requires it must fulfill certain criteria regarding randomness and demographics and selection of respondents to be statistically significant. Now, this is not so in this case. If we go to Answers.sg, it's basically a polling site. And they publish all sorts of polls about relationships and friendship and money and food. And typically you wouldn't expect people to make things up about these topics. It's basically just a site where Singaporeans can answer various questions about various topics. But when it comes to politics, you have to be really, really careful because there's obviously a huge incentive to manipulate public opinion. So, as you can see, by now, already 3,640 people have answered the question. So, the results that James posted are a little outdated because he used the poll when it was only 1,200. He didn't bother to update it. And let's just look at what this poll really is. So, there are basically three questions. Two of them are just as filler. So, do you know what gerrymandering is? Okay, let's click yes. 93% of answers of respondents do. Now, the second question is really what it's all about. So, there is gerrymandering in Singapore. Do you agree with this statement? And you have 5 options from strongly agree to strongly disagree, as you typically would. So, let's click on strongly disagree, what reflects our views. And by the way, I'm not in Singapore, so the sheer fact that that somebody not from Singapore and not an unverified user can vote in it is a joke already. But of course, we have VPNs. You can basically pretend to be in Singapore using a very cheap, simple solution anyway. So you could already pretend to be a Singaporean and just flood the poll and then get an outcome that you desire. So let's click strongly disagree. What the results are? Oh my gosh, 41% of people strongly disagree. How is it possible? let's just compare it. Strongly disagree was about at 6.3% just a few days ago. How is it 41%? Well, it is 41% because I did that. And it didn't actually take me too much time, as I'm going to show you right now. So it skipped, the poll skipped already to the third question, which is how would gerrymandering affect the view of the ruling party? Let's just click neutral here. It's another filler question, really. So let's confirm that. Oh, it's 50-50 almost. That was my doing as well. So now let me just remove my cookies so the page doesn't see who I am again. And then let's click again. Yes, I know what gerrymandering is. And then yes, I strongly disagree. And oh my God, it's 42% already. You would expect that a single vote would not affect any poll this strongly. And out of 3,640 as it's shown here. And let's repeat the process a few times just to show you how easily manipulated this thing is. So I remove my cookie, I reload the page, I say yes, I know what gerrymandering is, yes, I strongly disagree. It's 43% now. Would you believe that? Let's confirm. And let's do it once again. Yes, I do know. Yes, I strongly disagree. It's 44%. I'm just leaving single votes. I have no idea how the system works, because even typically in polls, even if you could just spam the poll, like people do on X, for instance, on Twitter, it would take typically thousands and thousands of votes. People would just flood the poll, and of course they are also easily manipulated, but you have to have manpower. But here, I'm just a single person, thousands and thousands of miles away from saying, here you go, 45%. How's that possible? So I'm just a single person who cast a few votes. Now, I don't know what they're using. It shouldn't be this way. But that in itself wouldn't be such a terrible problem if it wasn't then used by journalists who then try to report about the sentiments of the society, and then those results would then not be used by politicians to try to make broad allegations regarding the political system. It's 46 now. The political system in Singapore. This is unacceptable. Unacceptable for journalists at must-share news, but it's unacceptable for politicians who are elected and paid big money from taxpayers' pockets, from the budget, basically. 47%. Let's get it up to 50, huh? Shall we? Let's get it up to 50, and then we can post a contradictory result. And that makes our point, that the system is not rigged in Singapore, that there is no gerrymandering. And would you look at that? 48% strongly disagree about that. So, Mr. Lim, I implore you, please check your sources. I'm not against any sort of political debate or disagreement, but if you want to make a point, and if you're trying to make a case for yourself, then it would be good to spend at least 5 minutes and verify your sources. I think that's the least anybody in any country could expect of elected politicians. One more click. Let's see. Let's just, as I said, let's get it up over 50%. And is it going to be now? There we are. We went from 40 versus 40. Now it's over 50%. That's strongly. Singaporeans who strongly disagree within 10 runs of the poll. This is completely unacceptable. So be really careful what you post, but also be aware that whatever you read has to have proper sources and proper methodologies behind it. Because this sort of polling, when it comes to food, whether you like nasi lemak and whether you like, I don't know, Hainanese chicken rice, it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect your future, it doesn't affect politics of the country. But when a site like this runs polls on politics and then these polls are used to justify policies, something is clearly not right. Thank you.